and welcome to Sunrise Gratitude Summit, a video series for better mornings. I'm Emily Silva, the author of Sunrise Gratitude, and today we are speaking with Deanna Causey. She is a recovering perfectionist and overachiever who's had her share of success and some really epic failures. Deanna made it through a series of life-altering events and discovered the power of forgiveness and letting go. She started a journey of self-discovery and experienced a spiritual awakening that changed her life. Now, she wants to help women uncover their personal truths, give themselves the gift of acceptance, and learn how to move into the spiritual realm. Deanna says, the realization of your true power comes when you give up the fight to manage your life by the world standards and allow yourself to be guided by divine nature that is inside of you. She is the founder of Soul Sayers, a spiritual wellness and life coaching practice, and host of the Soul Sayers podcast. I'm so excited for you to meet her. Welcome, Deanna.
Hi, Deanna. How are you today?
I am good, Emily. How are you?
I'm great. I love your hair. It looks so beautiful on you.
Thank you. Thank you. A little lavender pop,
it's beautiful.
for the summer. Thanks.
So we're talking about mornings and this series. We've had some great speakers already talk about some of their key elements to a morning. But my very first question is, are you a morning person?
I am. I am totally a morning person. Up early, love the morning. Feels like it's just fresh new possibilities every day.
And have you always been one?
Yeah, always.
Oh, that's amazing. Even as a child?
Yes. Up early all the time.
Wow.
Yeah, drove my parents nuts, but yeah.
That's awesome.
I love the morning.
So can you tell me some of your key elements to making a perfect morning since you're a seasoned professional at morning?
Well, coffee for sure, right? So always a nice, fresh, hot mug of coffee. But for me, so I'm into scents and smells. So the very first thing I do after I've had my coffee is I have diffusers all over the house. And so I get those going with essential oils. My favorite is rosemary, lavender, and eucalyptus.
Ooh.
Yeah. And so that kind of just sets the stage for, whatever my practice is going to be that morning. So whether that's, meditating, journaling, whatever it is that I'm going to do, I don't know, that just always sets the mood for me when everything smells beautiful.
Yeah. So is it different every single morning?
A lot of times, yeah, like I don't have a particular like in stone thing. I really go by how I feel. And I do that because and I jokingly say this, but it's actually true. I am a recovering perfectionist. So I find that anything that I try to do that's a specific schedule, if I don't do that exact thing, like if I miss a day, then suddenly the voices are like, oh, see, you missed a day, you didn't do what So I really have tried to, for me, it's been very healing. I just try to let my spirit and my soul lead me. So some mornings I wake up, you feel great, you feel powerful, you feel good. And so maybe my time of meditation is like the boost for that. And then there's some mornings that I wake up and I'm feeling a little draggy or tired or a little down. And so maybe then I journal or I do something that's going to help me reflect and get in touch with that. So yeah, I don't like to tie myself down to a specific thing every day.
I love the grace that you allow yourself every single morning, because if we don't start our days with grace, the foot that we're starting our days on can be so self-destructive. So that sounds beautiful.
Thank you. Well, I feel like, if you're a person who tends to be hard on yourself, and I'm one of those people, then not giving yourself that grace is so counterproductive, because you can spend a lot of time focusing on what you didn't accomplish, what you didn't do, beating yourself up, womp, womp, womp. And there's just too much joy to be had in the day. So
I agree. And I can definitely resonate, because I definitely used to start these morning routines where it's like A, B, and C in this order. And I would get really upset with myself when I would mess up the order or I forget something, and then my whole day would be off.
Yes.
So the grace is so important. I mean, all day long, but to start our days off with grace would be so beautiful. And it leads into this beautiful book that you wrote
Thank
called
you.
Sacred Mornings. Can you tell me
Yeah.
a little bit about, I mean, it has 30 amazing themes. So tell me about Sacred Mornings, please.
Well, it's really, I sort of consider it like a journey from a place of constriction and limits to being wide open
Mm,
spiritually to receive whatever the divine, the universe has for you. And so it starts off with gratitude because I feel like before you can start any type of transformation, that needs to be sort of front and center. So it starts off with gratitude, and then every day it moves into a different phase. So forgiveness and releasing, cleansing. And so the idea behind it is that every day there's just a bit of elevation, right? And so from
yes.
day to day, you just kind of go to a higher place, a higher plane. And so I did that because that sort of developed out of my morning practice where, every day there was, one day I'd wake up and I'd be thinking about someone who hurt me or, someone who did something, and knowing that, okay, like I really need to get past this. There's some forgiveness needs to happen or I can't move forward. So then that happened. And then, one day you wake up and you think, man, I just wish I had the capacity to take in more and give more. So then that became part of it. So it's really partially my journey, but I believe that everyone would benefit for sure.
Absolutely. And I think we teach what we need to learn,
Oh,
and we become better teachers when we go through the lessons ourselves. So, how long did it take you to develop Sacred Mornings?
well, I would say that is really something that's developed over a couple of years. I mean,
Oh,
I had, yeah, to actually sit down and write it wasn't very long because I
hmm,
had it, but it was really sort of a process that I went through. And that was a couple of years of just trying to figure myself out, finding my place, finding, um, not only what I was supposed to be doing in this world, but a space where I could feel more balanced and more connected with myself, with my spirit. And so that wasn't a quick, fast journey for me. That took some time.
self development is never really a quick, fast journey. So,
Yeah. And it's never complete, right?
no. But tell us a little bit about your journey, because you're now doing what you do, but you weren't always doing that. So, what brings you to today?
Well, I had a successful career, and you know, it goes back probably to my childhood and long, complicated story. But the gist of it is that I have been um, a overachieving kind of person for as long as I can remember. Um, Perfectionist as long as I can remember. And that served me well in the corporate world, right? Because you tend to work harder, you stay later, you're trying to outdo, outbe, outrun, and you kill yourself.
When?
Win. So I did that, but I had a very successful career that I thought I loved, but what I really realized is that I had connected all of my identity and who I was as a person and everything inside of me. I connected it to that title and that position and that paycheck and the perks and the bonuses and the prestige that came with that. And I came to a place in my life where now I realize, looking back, that the universe, God for me, said, you know what, it's time to reevaluate some things. And so that career very suddenly ended. 17 years with this particular company, and it went away kind of like that. And so I was left honestly lost.
Mm.
Didn't know who I was, didn't know what I was supposed to be doing, really devastated by this shift, didn't know how to get back on my feet. And so I went through a period where I just started a bunch of revenge businesses, like I'm going to show them. And I did that. And one of them actually was pretty successful. And I did it for 5 years, but I hated it. Like I hated every minute of it. And so it just kind of came to a head, and then some things with my parents, and then I lost my parents. So it was like a successive series of these events in my life that really forced me to sit down and like, what the hell's going on with me? And so I finally did that. And in doing that, oh my gosh, I was able to uncover so many things about myself. I was able to face so many things about myself that really I knew, but you don't want to admit. And that acknowledgement was the beginning of me starting to work on myself. And so through that journey, I was surfing on the web one day and happened to see just this ad for LPI, for spiritual wellness coach training and life coach training. And I thought, and I looked it up and I signed up that day. I just knew that was it. And went, got certified, came back and started my business. And I'm so, so happy I did. It's been the best thing ever.
I had a very similar situation with LPI. I didn't know what I was going to do after I quit my corporate job. I did a web search for spiritual life coaching. It was the first one that came up. I had the introductory call with Fern and I was like, this is it. I didn't even know there was such a thing, spiritual life coaching. I probably needed one the 10 years before.
Man, I think if I would have known back then, that this was out there, I just didn't know, because wow, I feel like it would have been so perfect for me. A lot of challenges.
But what a big thing for a perfectionist. I too am a recovering perfectionist, but having to have everything fall apart where you have no control. And then the only choice you have is surrender. And then when you do a Google search, all of a sudden your answer is right there.
Yeah.
And then you just keep following.
Exactly.
So your company's name, your new company, how long have you been in business?
Since January. Well, I have a podcast that I host, and so that's been a year, and it's called Soul Sayers. The coaching practice I started in February, but I call it Soul Sayers as well because the name just resonates for me.
Well, congratulations on your new business. And can you tell us why you chose Soul Sayers?
Ooh, because I envision it as a safe space for women to speak what is truly in their soul, with freedom, in an environment of love, without judgment, that is safe and supportive. Because I feel like when we start doing that, that's when we get well, and that's when we can really walk in our power. And I believe that for many reasons, societal pressures and structures and constructs and many other things, as women, a lot of times we put other people before ourselves, and we are responsible for many other things, and we're caregivers and nurturers, and it's all beautiful. But it's very easy and very common that we make ourselves last. When I believe the reality is, if you get really well and start walking in the power that's been invested in you from before you even got here on this planet, that you would be a better mom, a better CEO, a better whatever it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I just think that there's a place where women need to feel safe to express what's going on with them. And
Absolutely.
find a place of healing.
So it sounds like in your previous positions, you were pretty powerful and successful, but do you feel that the power that you've stepped into now with Soul Sayers and with your certification is different than the power from before?
Yeah, so much. And you know what? It's funny because on the business side, it was like I knew exactly what to do. And it was like, take charge and knock everything down and obliterate the competition. But this is a very tender thing, it's very moving work. It's very fulfilling work. And while I always got, I got that rush of victories in the business world, I never got this feeling of working with someone and seeing them really come into the realization of who they are, um, and being able to walk in their light and in their gifts and in their strengths. Like, to see that, to just be a part of that is the most amazing thing. So the tenderness of it, um, the way that spirit leads you, because it's not always the same, so there's
Mhm.
no formula for this. Each person is unique and an individual, and so that process really takes you on a journey of learning how to flow and be in that flow wherever that it needs to go, without you having to orchestrate how it should happen. And I love that.
I feel like there's a dichotomy here between the masculine and the feminine energies, where in the business world, we have to like direct and win and go after. And then when you change to, I mean, you still have to do the same when you own your own business, but there's more allowing and receiving intervention and receiving intuition and listening to your higher self and your inner voice. Do you feel that you've felt that energy change and shift while still being in your power for the masculine and the feminine?
Yes, yeah, I do. I still, and actually, the masculine side, it's very strong for me, and so I actually find myself in conflict a lot, because um, when you start a business, it doesn't matter, even something like this that's so spiritually based, um, there is an expectation that you're going to be successful, and that
Mhm.
here's the things you got to do to make it, and you got to be at this and a six figure, and so, and for me, like, I can follow that carrot. It's really easy. And so I have to every day wake up and really lean on my intuition, like, okay, what am I needing to do today? Where are you leading me today? I don't want to get in my own way. And so, the energy is more one of, I find it a very patient energy with me, and a very, but direct, like, we're not going to do that today. you know, that's, don't worry about that. Get over here, because this is where the goodness is. And so that's still a work in progress for me, because there's some days I wake up and I want to, you want to take charge and, I don't know, do whatever.
Yeah. And I think that both sides serve a purpose, but there is a softness and an allowing, and that's where grace comes in.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about how your work has evolved over time, as you know, from when you started the podcast to today?
Oh, yeah. When I first started, it was more about, I had so much that I wanted to say, because I had, come through such, a, all I can, all I can liken it to is like oppressing, like, I just, like olives in a press. That's how I felt. And so I had so much to share. And I think when I first started, particularly with the podcast, um, I was more about telling people, the things that I'd learned. And it's good, and the information is great, but I was more about telling. And now I'm so much more about listening and feeling. And that is, they're like light years apart, right? And I feel like the difference in impact that it has when you work with people is also night and day, when you can
Mhm.
listen and you can feel.
And it
So
gives them more space to open and transform and share. That's
yeah.
amazing. So, with Sacred Mornings, do you also have other offerings that people, are there groups? Are there trainings, coaching sessions? How do you work with people?
So I work with people one-on-one. I am working on a group session, which is going to be a 12-week, hate to call it a mastermind, but it's sort of like a spiritual journey. It's called
Mm.
Soul Passages, that I would like to kick off in August, but we'll see. Um, and so 12 weeks of going from, um, a place of really discovering your purpose and facing fears and obstacles and sort of leaning on these four tenets of, you know, whenever you introduce like a new spiritual concept or any concept really, you know, your brain resists that because it's like, well, wait a minute, because we do it this way. So why are you trying to go this way? So that initial resistance many times is we take that as, oh, this is not something I'm supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
And so it's about how to really embrace that resistance and work through it. Because if you can, there's a bit of like throwing things out that you don't need. And then you come to this place where you're ready to take a journey with where you're lighter, freer, cleaner, right? Where you have gotten rid of the junk. And now you can move through and gain new things and gain new insights and then get balance and equilibrium and then go on to like a higher level of living. So that's that. And I also have Sacred Mornings, which is an ebook that I have for sale on my website. And I'm doing a workshop coming up in the next few days. So I'm really just trying to do a little bit of everything, you know?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds amazing. And I think when we're ready to go through a personal spiritual journey, it could take 12 weeks. It could take 12 years. It could, sometimes we just need to dabble and have a couple day workshops. So I think that the offerings are really important to be staggered like that.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a lot of letting go, releasing always. Can you tell me something that you've had to let go, release in order to step into your personal authority, which is something that you help people step into?
Yeah. So for me, it was definitely forgiveness. Forgiveness with my former boss and people that I worked for, because we also had a personal relationship. I mean, our families did things together. It was, you know, it was more than business. And also some family situations. And so I had to learn how to forgive, how to really let it go. Um, and in that forgiveness process, for me, it was really the letting go, right? Because I could say, well, you know, okay, I'm not really worried about it anymore. Wouldn't be angry about it anymore either. But I couldn't like release that. So for me, releasing was the beginning. And I think, you know, when you talk about personal authority and kind of stepping into that, some people say, well, I don't even know, you know, what that is. And I've got so many other issues. Like, I don't even feel like I don't even think I can access it. I really think the important thing is really being in touch with what is it that you need to get rid of, right? Because some people it's forgiveness. Some people it might be fears of certain things. Um, some people it's judgment. Whatever it is, you've got to recognize what it is. You have to be open to acknowledge that that's an issue for you. And then I think, you know, starting with some self-compassion to know that you're not the only person who feels like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't make you bad. It doesn't make you unworthy, right? And then honoring that you're going to go through this process that is really going to set you free.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is the way to start that.
Forgiveness is really hard for most of us, especially when we want the person that hurt us to understand or even hurt as bad as we do.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips to help people, since you've gone through forgiveness, on how to forgive or release that need to let them see how hurt you are?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can share what worked for me, because in both the instances that were pretty significant, nobody apologized. Nobody acknowledged,
That's so hard.
right? And so I spent a long time like, you are going to apologize to me. And then I realized like, no, they're not.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And that had me angry. And so what I did realize is that my anger needed a place to go. I could not carry that around. And so I needed an outlet. And for me, that outlet was channeling it into something that would benefit me, that was going to encourage me, uplift me. In a couple of cases, it was a business, right? And it was a perfect thing to sort of direct my energy and attention to. In the second case, like with my parents, it was, I channeled that energy into caring for them,
That's
even
amazing.
though, right, even though I wasn't and didn't get what I needed from them, like ever. But the power of doing that. And I think, sometimes people think I can't, but you can. And when you do, the power and the release that you get from caring for someone who hurt you without any expectation that they're going to do anything, that they're going to pay back anything or reciprocate in any way, is very freeing. It's very freeing and healing for your own soul. And that's how I got well. I realized like it couldn't be about the other people. It had to be about, how do I heal myself? I can stay mad, I can stay angry, or I can find a way to channel this energy into something that's positive. And that's what I tried to do. And that's what for people that I work with who have this issue, we try to figure out, how can we channel this into something positive for you?
I think being the love that you desired for so long to people who didn't give you the love that you need, or the love that you expected, because it's expectation,
Mm-hmm.
it's really powerful and transcendental, because you went above yourself and gave yourself a gift.
Yeah.
So the closure, when it needed to come, it brought tears to my eyes just hearing your story. So thank you so much for
Welcome.
being vulnerable and sharing that.
You're welcome.
And I think it's going to help so many people, because whether it's parents, siblings, a spouse, eventually we come across somebody where we're not going to get what we need.
Yeah.
And just being the love can
Exactly.
heal our own hearts.
Yeah. And I think too, a way that I looked at it is, earlier I talked about capacity. Not everyone has the capacity to love or to apologize or to empathize or whatever it is, right? Some people don't have the capacity. And when I started looking at these particular individuals, and I realized like they had real limitations. And so was I going to walk around for the rest of my life angry because they had a limitation that they couldn't get over? Do you know what I mean? Like when you really think about it, it doesn't make a lot of sense. All I could do is look at my own limitations and say, well, that I don't want to be, right? I know I don't want to be that. So how do I work on my own limitations so that I don't have these things? And that's a great way to, I think, channel your focus into something that will elevate you instead.
Yeah, we definitely have to meet people where they're at, because if we've done more development and soul searching, then we can't expect them to be like, oh, I'm empathic also.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, people can only do what they can do.
Exactly. And everybody has their own history, pains, and sorrows.
Yeah.
So you live in New Orleans.
Woo woo.
And I went there for the first time ever last year for an event. I have a dear friend that lives there. And one of the things that I fell in love with, going back to mornings, was your coffee out there.
Yes, it's pretty amazing.
Can you tell us a little bit about New Orleans coffee?
Yes. So New Orleans coffee is made with chicory. Chicory is sort of like this kind of an herb plant, beautiful bluish lavender flowers. They take that and they dry it and grind it, and they blend it with dark roast coffee. So for New Orleanians, it's dark, like black, thick. We like it soft. And the chicory gives it sort of like a nutty, slightly bitter, but not in a bad way, flavor. And so then we take that beautiful black, strong, thick coffee, and we do half and half with hot steamed milk. And it is heavenly and amazing. It's really wonderful.
Yeah, I don't drink milk, but I drink your coffee. It was a treat for sure. And out here in San Diego, when I returned, there was a coffee shop that was featuring New Orleans style coffee. And I was like, oh
Okay.
my God, I can continue my habit, but now they don't serve it anymore.
Oh no. I'll
Okay.
have to bring it back.
How can people learn more about you, connect with you? And also, there was a giveaway that we wanted to talk about. So tell us all the things.
Okay. So you can connect with me at soulsayers.com on the web. So the website's there, has my story and what we're doing and everything about Soul Sayers. I'm on Instagram, so same at soul_sayers. We're on Facebook. We've got a Facebook group and also a community page. So you can reach out to me there.
I can share all the links.
Yeah, yeah. And for the giveaway, I would like to give a Sacred Mornings ebook and some Soul Sayers swag. So I've got a very cool tote and a coffee mug because it's morning stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'd love to make that part of the giveaway for your guests.
Awesome. So if you like and share this post on Instagram on either of our pages, I will do a drawing on this Friday, the 7th, and the lucky winner will get their gift from Deanna.
Ooh.
So my favorite question to ask people is, what are you grateful for?
Oh my God, grace. Grace, grace, grace. It is the thing that it's always exactly what I need, right? It keeps me being compassionate and understanding with myself. It keeps me on track doing what I know I should be doing and not chasing standards that maybe the world or society thinks that we should be achieving. It keeps me right where I'm supposed to be. So grace is it for me.
Well, Deanna, I'm very grateful for you for
Thank
showing
you.
up today, sharing your story. And I'm so grateful that we met. We
Oh, man.
met through Heart Behind the Hustle. We're both in the same
Yeah.
mastermind together. And it's just been a joy to know you for the past, I think it's been 6 months, and learning more about your business and your story. So thank you so much for showing up today.
Oh, thank you. I love that you've had me. Thank you so much. I'm so appreciative to be a part.
And I can't wait for everyone to see this conversation.
Yay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.